Hey, so I just recently got this Saris SuperClamp EX4. It's wow, it's a really well built piece of kit. All right, so you want to carry 4 boxes or 4 bikes. Awesome. Made in Wisconsin, lifetime warranty. I don't have any financial connection. Just seems like a nicely built thing. And I'd read a couple reviews online where people said that they couldn't fit a 20-inch bike to it. And I think I figured out why folks were thinking that. And so, indeed, the way that it shows up and you first put it together, right? So, you add a bar. Here, we'll lower this down. Ugh. All right, so this is what it would look like if it was on the back of your car, all right? In my case, it's mounted here to a stud with this rack stash, which is not from Saris, but you can look it up. It's also really well made. So when it shows up, you put it together and you put, you put this bar on, right? And you've got this mount here, right? Okay. And then you've got this mount here, okay? And you get all that set up and you're like, okay, I got these shepherd hooks, right? One there, and another one here. Pop your bikes in, you're good to go. And that works, just out of the box for like 700C and probably even 24 and 26 inch, but for 20 inch, it doesn't work quite so well. And so what I ended up doing was rearranging the little wheel trays, okay? So you can see on this one, let's see if we can get a look at that. There's a tray there, that's a B tray. They're labeled, that's a A tray. And then that's the B tray, and then that's an A tray. And you can see that, there's the outboard and inboard, right? So, outboard for your first bike, and the inboard for your first bike, and so on and so forth. But what I needed to do was rearrange these, and so, with the 20-inch being the lightest bike, it's going to go furthest away from the car, right? And so I ended up with a B here. This is going to be the third bike, so that's like a 24-inch, right? And so both of its wheel trays, its A and its B, are outboard. And then for the 20-inch, the B and the A are both inboard of those, but they are all, as you can see, outboard of the mounts for the shepherd hooks, right? And so the passenger side, we'll call it this one, I moved it, right, from, about here all the way in. You got to loosen a couple of these Allen keys or Allen bolts. You need a socket wrench for the other side of that. Just loosen it up, move it over. And I ended up moving this one in a little bit as well. Had to take them all the way off in order to get the wheel trays from being captive inboard. And then, then it all works, right? So you can get a good enough angle with these. All right, there we go. That you're able to put a 20-inch wheel right here and still ratchet down. I don't know, we'll get a better shot of that. Still ratchet down with the shepherd's hook. Without doing that, you could still mount a 20-inch, but you wouldn't be able to use the shepherd's hook on at least one side, probably 2 sides. But you could still, in that case, use just the wheel straps. which is fine, but this is the way that I went about doing it. So I hope that's helpful for somebody. One thing I want to point out, if you do this, you'll see that in the standard location for these, right, everything like folds together nicely. It's all very pretty and tidy, right? Look at that, look how nice and tidy that first bar's shepherd hooks are. But you're gonna not be able to do that in this configuration. It's still not terrible, all right? So there they are stowed, okay? Which isn't terrible. The thing to note, here I'll just put this back up, all right, is that you're gonna end up in a situation kind of like that. There you go. Where on the right-hand side, you end up with a little bit extra pointing out. The depth is gonna be fine. It's not like you're gonna, you know, be hitting the car or anything with it in that position, but it's just something to notice. So there you go. That's a Saris SuperClamp EX 4-bike set up so that you can use both shepherd hooks and mount a 20-inch bike. All right, since I was doing all this talk about what it looked like with 20 on there, I figured, well, here it is. So there's the shepherd's hook on this side. It's about 11 o'clock. It could probably be a little further over at 10 o'clock. And on this side, and you can see it all fits quite nicely. I've had the 24 on the other side of this as well. And the clearances are tight, but it does all fit quite nicely. One thing you might notice, you can see these additional ratchet spots for the shepherd's hook. Kind of hard to see right there. Here they are, that's a better view. So you would think that maybe this hook would make it all the way down, but actually doesn't, and it sort of doesn't for good reason, and that's that you wouldn't have satisfactory clearance from a fork. Now you might in some cases, but it really, the bottom of this hook really only makes it down to about here at this point, maybe even a little higher. So if you're looking at one of these online, don't think that you're going to be able to put, like, I don't know, an 18 or a 16 inch on this, because, well, I mean, you might be able to, but I don't think so. Anyway, thanks a lot. Talk to you later.